Hey Nation, Harry here at the ChannelCon at GTIA in San Diego. This is the last interview on the last day. I'm with Brad Gross, total friend of the community, the law office of Bradley Gross. Brad, how you doing today?
Doing well. You saved the best for last.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I'm. At least that's what I'm going with.
Well,
yeah,
rock on.
That's it.
A little bit about yourself. Where do you live? What kind of law do you? I know it's probably not only MSPs. What do you do?
So what do I do? I have been working with service providers of all sorts. Now I'm in my 27th year. So we're approaching 28, which I believe is longer than any other attorney in the industry. We work with service providers in all facets of their business, licensing, master contracts, obviously, M&A work. M&A work. We do a lot of M&A work and so forth. The idea being that we are sort of a boutique, turnkey, transactional firm for the industry that understands the industry intimately because we've been involved with it for 27 going on 28 years.
No, perfect. I'm sorry, where do you live?
I am in my office is in Weston, Florida.
Yeah.
And I call my home now North Central Georgia.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, cool. You and I, as we prepared for this, we had a giggle. I come from a family of lawyers. Long story short, and that's why I'm not a lawyer. Okay.
You learned by example of what not to do. Got it.
Yeah, you know how that goes. It's
sure.
That's the last thing I want to do. Now, I appreciate lawyers, and there's a time and a place. Fortunately, I haven't had to engage with them much.
Good.
But, here's what's on the table is only a foolish MSP would be their own lawyer. It's no play on words, but only a fool would be their own lawyer.
Right.
So let's talk about that. What's your experience? When do people come to you? Let's talk about that.
So when do they and when should they might be two different parts of the puzzle. MSPs, when they try to be their own lawyer, especially in the last few years with the advent of even more comprehensive searches and AI and so forth, the knee-jerk, instinctual desire to save money and don't go to a lawyer, right? It's become more prominent because, they have a lot of these tools at their fingertips. The issue that MSPs face, and by the way, I'm telling you this with the book that I wrote about 3 years ago.
And I'll put the link down in the blog.
But one of the chapters is, and this is true, you could look, one of the chapters is, I want you to use ChatGPT to write your next agreement because I have kids in college and I need the money. That's the title of the chapter. So this is pretty apropos of what I was talking about then. The resources that are out there to write agreements are boilerplates, very technically sounding and aesthetically pleasing kind of provisions. They're big capital letters, bold letters, limitations of liability and warranties, and we're going to protect you so you don't get sued out of business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And while that might sound appealing, all right, the truth is that the value of legal is very limited. In fact, I would say it's of almost no utility whatsoever to an average MSP. So when they're acting as their own lawyer, they're focused on the wrong thing. They're focused on the big capital bold letters saying, look, I've limited my liability, right? I'm set. They're focused on the wrong thing. And as a result, they learn the lesson that we're about to talk about far too late. And what is that lesson? If you went around and researched litigation against MSPs, you would find it is very low. It is less than 1% of a percent. Okay? So you'd say, well, there's not a lot of litigation. The answer is that's right, there isn't. However, MSPs lose tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars without ever entering a courtroom. And the reason why, is because they don't deal with reality of the industry in their agreements. Reality.
So like cybersecurity hacks, or give me an example.
Yeah, sure. Well, like here's a perfect example. Ready? You're an MSP. You tell your customer they need MFA, right?
Yeah.
Why? Well, because you need MFA. It's a good thing. They don't take it because they don't think it's worth it. It's a cost. Fine.
Oh, okay.
Then
the client's a pain
well,
in the ass.
of course. And then they get fished, right? Fished, and then they blame you.
Yeah.
Now you're going to turn around and say, well, I told them what they should get. I told them. And you're going to hear from their attorney saying, one, I don't see anywhere in your agreement that it says we have to listen to you. You've limited your liability, but we're not there yet. Right now, I don't know why you think we had to listen to you. And then two, you're the expert. You're telling my client they need MFA and you let them reject it? That's reckless. Why would you does a doctor look down and, before he does surgery and say, before I do this, would you like me to, go in here or here? They do the job. You didn't do the job.
Yeah.
How dare you market to my industry when you let them reject it? And the idea is that now we're arguing at an hourly rate over something as simple as you didn't listen to me. That's a $25,000 argument. Yeah, we're not in court.
Yeah, honey,
right.
We're not buying the boat this
Right,
summer.
we're not buying the boat. We're not going out to dinner. The idea is that we don't get to legal yet, right? We are just defending ourselves or trying to protect the relationship by throwing money at it because you have an agreement that only thought of legal. And that's what happens when MSPs act as their own lawyers. They only think of legal.
Yeah.
They don't think of reality.
No, I can, you don't have to sell me.
No, I'm just, said give me an example. That is a very real
A
example.
quick left turn, then we'll get to geography. What I've seen, it's in the orbit that we're talking about, not directly, but what I've seen with MSPs and their behavior is, and maybe you've seen it, but they, a lot of people, they start their MSP and they want to go get business, but they put up roadblocks, right? Like, well, I can't open the doors until I become CompTIA certified. I can't do this. I can't do that, right? The roadblockers, it's mental. What I've seen
of their own making.
Yeah. It's anxiety. But what I've seen, I don't know if you have a comment, but what I've seen is, well, I need to hire this person who will do all my forms, my sign up the client and do this and do that, and I can't open the doors until I do that. I mean, I've heard this before. There was apparently a party in Australia for X dollars that would sell you the forms, so you could open the doors. And well, that became a stalling tactic, in my opinion. Have you seen that? Have you seen people that, and maybe not, I have.
Well, I have, the answer is yes, I've seen that. And I have seen MSPs spend just enough money that they're not comfortable, but not enough that they believe it's costing them too much to buy the basics, right? Buy the template. So they say, now I can get moving. But what they don't understand is that by doing that, they're really kicking that can down the road, and it's going to be an expensive lesson down the road. You're better off spending another $1,000 or $2,000 and doing it well and correctly from the start than spending, half of that, and then a year or two later, when you actually have clients, you turn around and say, wow, now I have to not only change what I'm doing, I have to go back to the clients that have signed deals and somehow figure out how to get them to sign a better deal.
Yeah. So let's talk geography. You and I in rehearsal were talking. We see it all the time. You're an M&A, so it's a frenzy, a bubble, MSP thing. It's an MSP thing, and so now what I'm seeing in my audience is a good example is Party A lives in Houston. He's successful. He wants to buy an MSP in Colorado. I'll give you my own example about incorporating in different states, but you don't have to be a member of the Bar of Texas or Colorado to assist Party A to acquire the Colorado MSP.
The answer is no. We work with MSPs in every state. The idea being that when it comes to, let's say, a transaction that you're talking about, an acquisition, okay, 98% of that acquisition, okay, relates to issues and areas that have nothing to do with the state that you're in, right? It might have to do with the due diligence of the contracts that you're acquiring. It might have to do with the quality of the assets. It might have to do with contacting their customers to see the value of the relationships and so on. Now, everything I just rattled off, where are we? Are we in Arkansas? Are we in New York? Are we in It doesn't really matter, right?
Okay.
So our efforts are directed at that. And no, we don't have to be in the state to give expert advice in those areas.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good to know. That we're almost out of time. That brings up my example of, for right or wrong, I never could hold a corporate job. I'm a startup guy. It's good and bad. And I'm dealing with a group right now from my home state of Alaska. We have an idea in the tourism sector. Tourism's hot. Alaska's hot. And we're talking about where to incorporate. My SMB Nation's in the state of Washington. Okay, fine. But now I'm in Austin, Texas, and there's we can go on and about that. Texas is friendly. Texas is this. Well, I'm there, right? So I can go to the bank and do my business. I'm there,
right?
And so along those same lines, you can help the me's of the world who want to either change their state of incorporation or start a new business in a different state.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and usually the forum selection that you're talking about has very little to do with legal and more to do with, as you said, financial, banking relationships within the state, taxes within the state, and so on, which is a CPA thing.
Yeah.
It could be a lawyer thing, but it's more of a CPA thing.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah.
I concur. Well, what's next? So you're at this show. You've been a wonderful friend of the community. You've been a donor to community college causes. Where will we see you again? I mean, I think it's great you're out and about.
Yeah. So, you'll see me at every Channel Pro event this year.
Oh, okay.
So I speak at all of them. You'll see me if you're a CMIT.
I saw you on their list.
Yeah, I'm at every one of them. If you're a CMIT franchisee, you'll see me at their partner event, and I'm now and I am now the exclusive legal resource for MSP One Share. So if you're a member of that organization, you now have access to me on a prioritized basis.
Yeah, I'll take us out with this. I'll affirm what you're saying. Back in one of my startups, there was a big part of the dynamic was retail sales, okay? And there's the RSPA, Retail Solution Provider Association. You're a member. And they had, and it wasn't full-time, but they had a lady who was a general counsel. Well, your membership fee included her services, like X out, I mean, not forever, but, and so that was a benefit to joining the trade association.
Right. Understand. Well, if GTIA wants to work something out with me, I'd be happy to talk to them.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, safe travels. We'll see you next show. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.